Hey guys, what's going on? Happy Monday, September 18th, 2023. I just want to give you guys an update on this thing that I talked about at least one or two other times here on Facebook, maybe also on YouTube. I think I've been kind of sprinkling it across platforms as things came up. But basically, for the rental portfolio that I run for my partner and I, the gist of it is that operating expenses, month-to-month operating expenses, have absolutely exploded over the last 9 to 12 months. Oddly, early days of the pandemic weren't that bad, 2020, 2021. It was only during the second half of 2022 that I really started to notice a consistent uptick in operating expenses in the portfolio. And I'm talking about mostly the properties located in our Memphis region, but also a little bit in the South Florida area, Palm Bay, Melbourne, Ocala kind of situation there. And when I say that the operating expenses have gone up, I mean like doubled or more. Okay, and this is on a portfolio that has actually shrank over the period of time I was talking about. If you go back to the beginning of the pandemic, we went into that period of time with about 60 properties, but came out of the first half of 2022 with 11 less properties. So went from 60 to 49. And so with a smaller portfolio, this is the amazing thing, guys, a smaller portfolio, we now have more than a doubling of monthly operating expenses. So unfathomable and, maybe inexcusable that I'd even let it get this far. But it's like every month you're almost like held in this degree of disbelief, you know what I mean, that you're spending this much on repairs and rehabs and work orders and all this stuff. You kind of think, okay, next month can't be this bad, next month can't be this bad, next month can't be this bad. But it is, and it has been now for, like I said, 9, 10, 11 months. So with probably the most sensitive location that we have in terms of performance declining, I wrote that property manager and I said, look, I need to talk to you guys like one call per property. I don't want to call and talk about the whole portfolio and try to jam it in 30 minutes or 45 minutes or something like that. I need one phone call per property, and I need you guys to bring certain information to the call. I need you to tally up how many work orders you've sent me in 2020, 21, 22, and 23. And then I need to know what's the total amount of work for each of those years that those work orders comprised. So like, for example, if they say, well, in 2020 you had 3 work orders totaling $10,000, and in 2023 you had 9 work orders totaling $20,000, there's a trend there. You know what I mean? I'm obviously simplifying a little bit, but you get the point. Like, I need to see how many requests I was getting per year, and have they ticked up significantly in the last calendar year and change. And then I need to know what the dollar figure is across those requests, right? It's not just the number of requests we're getting, but how much work are we being asked to do? You know what I mean? So that's a huge deal as well. So then, and I said, look, I also need you guys to bring to the table a narrative as to why these properties are performing the way they are. I need to understand, like, what's going on at the house. What are the problems? What are the issues? What are some of the things that maybe are hard to explain sometimes on email? When you do rental real estate investing the way we're doing it, where we don't live in these areas, we don't live anywhere close by. You have to get on a fucking plane and fly down there and surprise everybody. Okay, when you're in that situation, you have to have a certain level of trust for your property managers. But at the same time, if you never ask any hard questions, they're human and they get used to that. And it just gets real easy to put everything through with no resistance and no issues and no questioning of anything and no due diligence and no thoroughness. It just, it's not a knock on them per se. I mean, you could argue it is, but I'm just saying it's a human nature thing more than anything else, that they're going to get complacent. So I've got to start the most I can control from where I sit. Like I said, unless I get on that plane, is to talk to these guys from the standpoint of, I'm now skeptical of why all this work is required. Not to say they're making things up. I mean, I'm not saying that anybody's fabricating. I'm sure this work needs to be done on some level, but I'm trying to understand, is it life-threatening? Is it going to threaten the property's rentability? Is it just because the tenant complained once and you didn't want to push back? And honestly, guys, we've prided ourselves, my partner and I, on being highly responsive to tenants. We never evict first go around. We're always very slow to evict. We've really prided ourselves on being very tenant-friendly landlords. We don't run things like a machine. But we have been suffering performance-wise now for the better part of a year, and it's now grown into a systemic problem. It's really dragging down the performance of the portfolio. So anyway, on these calls, guys, I told them, I'm like, I am bringing the P&Ls from my bookkeeping. So I'm not using their P&Ls. I'm not using their information that they supply us through the portal. I'm taking the books that we keep in QuickBooks, and I am going to have those P&Ls with me on those calls so that I can go ahead and cross-reference the information. And again, it's not like hey, I'm checking on you, I'm going to catch you doing something wrong. It's just, look, like, I've got to keep books on this stuff. I see these numbers going real bad. If they don't match yours, we got to figure out why, right? But we really need to understand more than anything else why these properties have declined performance-wise. And not just like, oh, we got one or two headache properties and the rest are doing great. Like, I'm talking like every single one of these fucking properties has a fucking problem. Like, you know what I mean? Like this is not like a one-off dog shit property that has a problem. This is like all these properties have suffered on some level. And it's really odd to see that happen kind of like all at the same time. All happening right around the fall, late summer of 2022. So anyway, guys, so that's something I'm going to be constantly updating you guys on. It's just an ongoing battle that I got to deal with, and I will keep you guys apprised of that. But anybody who's having similar experiences or have sort of solved this problem a different way, I would be more than open to hearing about it, because this is a head scratcher. I mean, this is like, we've had years of great performance from these properties, and now, nearly overnight, I mean, almost on a dime, this whole thing turned. And now it's been staying that way for a while. And so, it started out with me sending emails back to these work orders like, hey, is this life-threatening? Is somebody going to lose a life or limb? Is the property going to go into, is the property going to be compromised by this? Or can we just wait it out? Can we just tell the tenant, sorry, we can't make the fix right now. We've spent tens of thousands of dollars on previous repairs and rehabs, So now it's coming into the phone call. Now it's me getting on the call with somebody and saying, hey, what's going on here? Like, somebody explain it to me. So it puts them a little bit in the hot seat where they've got to show up live on a call and start answering questions. Just start answering questions on the fly, checking data. Why do my books say this and yours don't? Or, maybe we both say the same thing, but why did it happen? And that sort of thing. So anyway, guys, look out for more content from me on this, because this is kind of a big deal. This is definitely something I got to get figured out, and I got to get it figured out really fast now. So again, would love to hear from you guys if you have similar experiences or situations like this that you've dealt with. So other than that, hope you guys are having a good start to the week, and as always, appreciate you guys checking in on the content. Until next time, thanks again for listening, guys.